is the fact that Facebook, Google, and others have all these government connections, and now it's come out the Facebook founder is bragging, going, look at these stupid idiots. They believe that they get privacy with us. They believe they can trust us. What a bunch of morons. And Google's been caught all over the world, not just in England, with these vans running around capturing people's digital wireless communications. They're not just taking photos.
Right. They store all the information that is going on. If you have a cell phone, with a browser in it or any of that, okay, they capture that information, put it into a database. They have everything about you, period. That's it. Google has been known. They've been banned in numerous countries. Countries are starting to wake up and say, you know what, we heard this story, what was it, about a month ago about China banning Google. Well, I don't blame China for banning Google because Google wants to take their secrets and everybody else's secrets in their personal lives. And I like my privacy. I like my privacy, and I know how to keep my privacy, and I'm going to keep my privacy. And when I do, when I write my book, is I talk about how people, for example, I tell people who's behind what companies do these things, how they do it, how what ways to protect themselves from the big bad brother on the internet.
All right, let's talk about Facebook and Google and your research into them. But now, here's mainstream news about headline. Facebook, Google invented by the CIA. That's one headline. It just goes on and on. We're going to break it down. All right, but we'll have to have him back up again in the near future because we're almost out of time. Really interesting website, and I was already familiar with his work. Very interesting research. Give us your website one more time, and then in the remaining time we've got, go into the ways that Facebook and Google and others are A, government connected, and B, just sucking everything up.
Okay, number one, my website, thank you, Alex, is 888freedom.com. That's 888freedom.com. And through that site, you can go to my other site that I own, which I'm not going to mention, but you go through there, and it shows you how to protect yourself from all of these privacy vampires that are trying to destroy and take everything from you every day. Now, the government owns the Internet. Okay, they own the Internet. They own it. There was a bill passed in 2003 called the Can-Spam Act. Okay, and this law allowed free speech to reign, small business to reign, supposedly. But it doesn't happen that way. But now let's go into Facebook. Let's get really down and dirty, okay? Let's put it this way. Anybody that belongs to Facebook, anybody that belongs to Twitter, anybody that belongs to MySpace, anybody that belongs to Google, anything you upload, anything, let's say you upload, for example, a show, Alex, a show of yours, your intellectual property, right? It says in the terms of service on Twitter, and I can't read it verbatim, but I'm just going to tell you.
They say they own it, yes.
Yes. They say anything, like pictures of my kids, for example. I didn't know this. I had to start investigating these guys really big time because they own...
No, that's why suddenly Fox News, CNN, and others are showing YouTube videos because it puts your copyright into a no man's land, which I'm happy because I just want to get the word out. But no, I read that years ago when I first started uploading 5-6 years ago to YouTube. They say, hey, we own your stuff now.
Yeah, but the thing is, not many people know, and that's the problem. Is nobody knows. And for example, everybody thinks an email is a spam email. Now, let me clarify what spam is. Spam is illegal activity when someone steals your computer to send out their garbage about pornography, and that is what spam is. Sending an email to your friend or getting your newsletter out is just freedom of speech and getting things out to the public so they know, but they want to shut that down. Google reads everything. So if you put a word in there, okay, let's say you send an email to a friend. You're sending it from Google or you're to Google, and a word that they don't like. Let's say FEMA camps or let's say whatever you want to call it.
Oh, no, we've noticed we can't get articles out with the name Bill Gates in it. They delist that automatically. Look at BP, how they just got caught buying the search terms.
And a little guy like me, Bill Wagner, I can't even send an email to certain places like Microsoft. When I got home from D.C. in 2003, late 2003, that name Wagoner they refused to allow Wagoner to even come as a normal personal email to a friend. So all of these places that are free, all of them, Earthlink, Hotmail, Google, Microsoft Live, Yahoo. Let me tell you a real horror story here real quick. Can this scoot this in here? I had a friend of mine, okay? We know about Google Earth. We know it's all controlled. We know that you can find anything you want to find out, right? But now they have this little plug-in on Yahoo. And a friend of mine called me, and he said, Bill, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? He said, I opened my Yahoo box. A friend sent me an email. It showed his email. It showed where he lived, directions to get to his house, the whole 9 yards, without him even asking for this. He didn't download Google Earth, nothing, and it's just coming up. So terrorists, anybody can find out where you live right now. That's it. Twitter.
Well, it's the same thing. What movie you're going to see, they now know. Where you're going on vacation, they know. And it's all being watched. And from all the CIA people I've had on, like Mr. Steele and others, Google and Facebook were created by the CIA, by the Pentagon, and they're not just infiltrated, they are government.
Oh, yeah, and you have to look at the top, though. You have to look at the top, Alex. You really do.
Well, look what Schmidt, the head of Google, said last month on MSNBC. He said, look, you shouldn't be doing anything you're ashamed of on the Internet. You have no privacy.
Yep, privacy is dead. A guy from there's so many stories about these Internet top dogs, okay, that were there and that say these things that your privacy is dead, and if you're not doing anything wrong, you got nothing to worry about.
But then they always make themselves exempt from their own technology.
Exactly. The law, they go, oh, well, it doesn't apply to us. Doesn't apply to us. Well, guess what? It does apply to you guys. And you know what? When the bottom line comes down, the people know, which we're spreading the word everywhere. And my book.
Well, Bill, stay there. I'm going to do a few more minutes with you on the side, okay. and particularly ask you where this is going, because don't be evil. I mean, that was the NSA's sick joke about their NSA operation known as Google. Now people know they are evil, not just evil, pure evil.